this way, and yet people are moving toward the cities. Next slide I'll show you here. This is just out of Wikipedia, just to show you the kind of numbers they are. From Shanghai to 23 million, Beijing 20 million, Tianjin 10 million, and then you have Guangzhou that has about 10, 11, 12 million, but it actually impacts 44 million people, and then Chongqing down there, 7.5 million, impacting about 30 million. I mean, just imagine the size of these cities. Urbanization is changing the face of missions, and I think that should be a serious consideration for us as we consider our future. Next slide. You recognize anyone in that picture there? Well, he's sitting right there. I want to mention Beijing Shouwang Church, because you have to know this church if you understand China, if you understand urbanization. Because we just read from Matthew chapter 5, verse 14, talks about being salt of the earth, light into the world, and being a city on a hill. In fact, actually, Boston, New England, was built upon this verse. John Winthrop was the first governor. Really saw that the Puritans came here to build a city, a beacon for the rest of the world to see. And what's happening is that the churches in these urban cities are now growing and realizing that in the past, when the government would come and attack a church, especially in the countryside, while the government is sending police on one side, the church scatters and spreads as it scatters. Kind of like the book of Acts. But there's always the disagreement on, well, when do you scatter, when do you run, and when do you stand your ground? So I'll give you a perfect example. Wenzhou is another province where Christianity has got 15% of the population, about 1 million Christians. So Martin and his wife over there are from Wenzhou. You can raise your hand over there, and we have some other Wenzhou sisters are here. Anyways, Wenzhou is experiencing an attack from the government right now, today. 360 churches, the crosses have been removed, or the churches have been demolished. And Wenzhou Christians have to ask this question. When the police come to remove that cross, that physical cross, is it worth standing your ground? Now, some would say, no, it's just a physical symbol. The true cross is in our hearts. So no matter what the government does, they can't remove the cross from our hearts. We're not going to fight the government. If they come in and remove it, we're just going to pray and just be obedient. There are others, though, that may say, no, the cross is a symbol of our faith. And we will stand and fight for it. It's not an easy answer for that question in communist China. The Shouwang Church has made a decision. The other churches have not. And they said, enough is enough. When the government comes storming in, we're going to stand our ground. And we're going to worship, whether or not we have a physical location. We'll worship outdoors if we need to. And that's the church that actually has symbolized for many of the urban church of coming to the surface, rising to the surface, being a city on a hill. And what is the reason behind that? Comes from Matthew chapter 14. It's for the sake of the gospel, and it's for the sake of mission.